I can't believe what I've seen today in Texas. I've come to Texas. I've gone to the what's it called? The big mosque center,
Islamic Center.
Yeah, the huge Islamic center in Plano, and I can't believe. And then I went to the shops, and I went into the shops today. So you'll see a video coming up. I've come here. I've met influencers. I've met politicians. I've met YouTubers. I wanted to meet real Americans on the street, so I met up with a husband and wife today. She broke down crying. She broke down in tears because her grandmother was from Plano, her mother was from Plano. She's had to flee Plano. She's been persecuted and targeted and harassed by Muslim males who have been imported into the country. She cried her eyes out, and I saw the pain in her today as an American. And I wonder how many Americans are aware of what's happening here. 330 mosques. 5 years ago, you had just over 200. The growth of the community. But I went into shops today. There's a whole row of shops next to a Christian church. That won't be a Christian church for long. Yeah. But there's a whole row of shops. And when I went into the shops, I said, "Hi, do you sell any non-halal meat?" No. I said, "So I can't buy anything that's non-halal?" "No, you can't." The next shop, all full of Islamic women's gear. The next shop, and again, all Islamic garments. The next shop. So every shop is changing, and I've seen this. So to Americans, I've seen this. And what happens is, like this lady and this husband, wonderful family. He works in Harley Davidson. She works in recruitment. Decent, normal Americans. They've fled. They've left. Now in the UK, we call that white flight. That is when the English start leaving the town and the community. And she said that people were knocking on their neighbours' doors and say the house is worth 400,000. They're offering 450 or 500. So the money's coming in. They're buying up the community. I went to the housing villas that are owned by the mosque.
It's amazing.
And it's Medina Villas, yeah, named in after Saudi Arabia. I went and looked at some of the houses and videoed them today. So I'll have a video coming out. Mashallah House. Now, I don't know if Americans are aware of this is just the start. Now, these enclaves, which is what they'll become, because they're not here to integrate or assimilate. We know that by what's it called, Apex City? Yeah. We know it by the Epic City, by the plans they had for entire communities. And I've watched this my whole life. But to come to Texas from an outsider, if they take Texas, everywhere's gone. Yeah? This is the battleground. So Texas has been chosen battleground. But knowing, and I think looking at Paxton and seeing the amount he spent on his campaign, what, 4 million in comparison to the 100 million, yeah? So I see today as a referendum. This vote is a referendum. The vote against Sharia is a referendum for Texans to decide that what they want. And if the public are overwhelmingly supporting the ban against Sharia, then that hopefully is going to give confidence to American politicians across the US to understand that this is the people's vote, to stand up, start speaking. I don't think you understand how bad the situation is in the UK. The fact you've got a caucus now of 42 congressmen already, when you only have a 1% Muslim population, your people are aware. It's took us 30 years. Not one politician in 30 years has spoke about Islam in my parliament. We've had children's centres blown up, 26 children. We've had terrorist attacks, soldiers beheaded. We've had 12 attacks stopped last year. We've had all these attacks of jihad and terrorism, and no one would speak about it. So the fact that you've already got brave politicians, you've already got brave commentators and influencers discussing this issue, you need to stop it. You don't want to end up like Britain. Don't end up like France. The thing is, you can look to the rest of the world. You can see the failures. You can't follow the same path. Unfortunately, they seem to be buying their way into some Republicans' pockets as well.
Tommy, we just passed the prop tonight with 95% of the vote. Ask him what actions does he think we have to take?
So we just passed the proposition with 95% of the vote. Steve said, what actions, what's next to stop the jihad? And I spent the last 2 summers there. I got threatened to be shanked in the neck by these Islamists in England. Saw the same thing in France. That road that you guys are on, to me, Europe's gone, other than the Eastern Wall. What can America do here to stop that jihad from taking over?
You need to understand that with Sharia law, so we're talking about Sharia law a lot, there's 100 Sharia courts in the UK, they don't need it to be recognised because their entire community will recognise it. So you'll have women being married in Sharia courts. It doesn't matter whether they've got paperwork or whether it's recognised by a government, they'll be doing it anyway. The police are not called to Islamic communities. What you need to do is you need to end Islamic immigration. Now, immigration is supposed to benefit the United States of America. Rapes, Germany opened their borders to Syria. Yeah, they opened their borders. Germany letting 1 million Syrians. So think about this: Joe Biden letting 10 million, maybe more. Yeah. Now, when he opened your borders, you've had Hispanic immigration, you've had Mexican immigration. Well, now you've had Syrian, now you've had Iraqi, now you've had Pakistani, now you've had Somali. They've opened your borders to an alien culture. It's a whole different ballgame. You need to prepare yourself for what's coming with this, because when Germany done that, In 2015, they opened their borders. 2017 to 2022, rapes went up 45%. 11% of the rapes last year in Germany were by Syrian nationals. 54% of the rapes in Germany last year were by Muslim migrants, groups of Muslim migrants. 77% of the rapes in Paris, Muslim migrants. No matter what country, 63% of the rapes in Sweden, Muslim migrants. 90% of the convictions for rapes of children in the UK in groups are by Muslim migrants. 30% of the men who have been convicted for the rapes in the UK are called Mohammed. If you want to be like that, if you want this to happen in America, then carry on. Carry on with your borders open. But the reality is, if you want to stop it, you need to stop, and you need to be brave and fearless and stop Islamic immigration. Now, when Donald Trump brought in what they called a Muslim ban, which it wasn't even a Muslim ban in 2016, if we had that ban, then 26 children would not be blown up in the Ariana Grande concert. Because a terrorist, Salman Abedi, whose father was a terrorist, who was welcomed into our country, was allowed to go to Libya for weapons training, gun training and bomb making skills. Now, if we had in Europe the same ban, just the same ban that Donald Trump put in, 280 more civilians would be alive that have died at the hand of terrorists. So you need to put your people first, you need to stand up for your people, and by doing that, you need to end Islamic immigration.
Tommy.
British activist and commentator Tommy Robinson delivered a serious warning to Americans during a recent visit to Plano, Texas. He said the United States could end up repeating what he believes are Europe's mistakes when it comes to immigration and integration. Speaking during an interview outside an Islamic center in Plano, Robinson explained that his trip was about seeing things for himself. He wanted to understand how communities in Texas are changing and to talk directly with everyday Americans about their experiences. "I came to Texas to meet real people on the street," Robinson said. "Influencers and politicians are one thing, but I wanted to hear from those who actually live here." He described his visit as a warning for Americans, drawing on what he has seen happen in Europe over many years. "I've watched what's happened across Europe my whole life," he said. "Coming to Texas as an outsider and noticing similar signs starting to appear is worrying." He argued that many European leaders ignored concerns about extremism and integration for a long time. "In Britain, it took us 30 years before politicians were willing to openly discuss issues linked to Islamist extremism," he said. "By that point, we had already faced terrorist attacks and serious social tensions." During the discussion, Robinson strongly criticised Western immigration policies. He said governments should rethink immigration from Muslim-majority countries. "What needs to happen is an end to Islamic immigration," he stated, adding that immigration should clearly benefit the country receiving newcomers. He pointed to examples and statistics from countries like Germany, France, Sweden, and the United Kingdom, claiming that their policies have led to social and security challenges. Robinson also defended former US President Donald Trump and his 2017 travel restrictions affecting several mainly Muslim countries. He argued that if European nations had taken similar steps earlier, many terrorist attacks might have been avoided. Robinson remains a highly controversial figure in the United Kingdom and around the world. His supporters see him as someone speaking out about extremism and integration issues. Critics, however, say he spreads anti-Muslim views and shares misleading information about immigration and crime. Regardless of which side people take, his visit to Texas highlights the increasing influence of international political voices and activists in ongoing debates about immigration, cultural identity, and national security in the United States.